everybody, it's Teresa. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to make a ring today. It's going to be a peyote ring. It's going to be a little different than the other peyote ring I did though. It's going to be like this one. I showed this one in the other video that I did. It's peyote all the way around, but it's just got bigger beads in the center that makes it domed up like that. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. I had a lady request that I do this. And of course, I don't mind at all. Like I said, this is just peyote all the way around. It's just the beads make it dome up like that. You can do this and make a bracelet like this. It's the same thing. It's just, you just go from the smaller beads to the larger beads, back down the smaller beads, back up to the larger beads, and you can make little domes all the way across the bracelet there like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I've tried to pick out some colors. I'm afraid that it might be hard to see what I'm doing because I have to use these little 11 delicas, but I will link that other peyote ring that I did up in the corner of this video and in the description box below in case you want to go back and see it. I don't know that it would be any easier to see though because I used 11 delicas in it too. But these are kind of dark, which worries me that you might not be able to see them as well. So I don't know, that other video might be more helpful if you want to go back and look at it if you didn't see it. I'm going to be using 3 different colors of delicas, and I wanted to get some color in it. I didn't want to just do an entirely neutral colored like this. So it's mostly just all white and silver. So I wanted to do some different colors. I don't know how pretty this is going to be when I get done, but I'm trying to do it so that hopefully you can see if the difference in colors will help you see what I'm doing. So I've got some galvanized champagne 11 delicas, Miyuki delicas. I've got some light bronze 11 Miyuki delicas. I've got some Duracoat dyed opaque spruce Miyuki delicas. These are the same color that I used in the earrings I made the other day, the brick stitch earrings. I've got some just regular 11 round Duracoat galvanized champagne seed beads. I've got some Toho transparent frosted dark peridot beads. I do own some Toho. Mostly I've gotten them in subscription boxes over the years. I just started buying Miyuki when I first started beading, and I have just always bought them because you don't really want to mix, most of the time you don't want to mix Tohos and Miyukis. I think it'll be alright in this though because I'm going from smaller beads to bigger beads anyway. But I do have some Toho that I've gotten in subscription boxes over the years, and I'm going to use these today. And then these are, I think these are 2 by 3 millimeter rondelles. I didn't have them labeled, but I think they are, and they're a green color, and I'll be using them at the top there like where I've got these white ones on this one. So and I've got 2 size 11 tulip beading needles. I'm only going to use 1, but I always have an extra in case I drop one. I've got my 8-pound fire line in smoke. I usually use 6-pound fire line and peyote when I'm using delicas, but since I'm going to be using the bigger beads at the top here, I'm going to use the 8-pound. Only thing I'm using for tools are my scissors to cut my fire line and my chain nose pliers to flatten down the end of my thread so I can get it through my needle. I've already got a needle threaded here, and I've got a stop bead on it. And in that other ring, I didn't even leave enough of a tail to sew in because when I zip the peyote up to make a ring out of it, I go through it so many times that you really don't even need to sew in the tail. But I'm going to leave a long enough tail to sew in this time just to get it out of my way because it's kind of a pain when that tail is in your way. So I'm just going to sew that in to get it out of my way so that hopefully it won't be in the way while I'm doing the video and be frustrating to me and you. So I think that's everything. I'll get some of this out of the way and some of my beads poured out, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got some of my champagne colored delicas poured out here and some of my bronze ones. And I'm going to start on the band because I'm going to start by making the band and make a little bit of the band and then make this part and then make the rest of the band, and it's easier to zip up the delicas together. So I'm going to just make a little bit of the band and then go into the dome and then do the rest of the band. And I usually just do the band in one color, but I wanted to I thought it might help to see it better if I do it in two different colors. So I'm going to do this champagne down the side, and then I'm going to do the bronze in the middle, and I'm going to pick up 1 of my champagne, 8 of my bronze beads, and 1 of my champagne beads. I'm going to have champagne down each side and bronze in the middle. So I've got my stop bead at the top, and I'm like with the other ring, we pick up a bead and we skip a bead, and whatever bead we pick up is going to sit next to the bead we skip. And I want my light colored galvanized champagne down the side, so I'm going to pick up a champagne bead, and I'm going to go into the bronze bead. I'm going to skip this first champagne bead, and I'm going to go into the bronze bead right above it. I'll pull my thread through, and that sits my new champagne bead right next to the one I skipped. Now I'm gonna skip a bronze bead and go into a bronze bead. So the bead I skip is the bead I pick up is going to sit next to the bead I skip. So I want it to be bronze. So I'm going to pick up a bronze, skip the next bronze, and go into the bronze on the other side of it. Pull my thread through. And that sits that bronze bead next to the bronze bead I skipped. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up a bronze bead, skip a bronze bead, go into the next bronze bead. Push my stop bead down to tighten everything up. Now that's what I've got. Now I'm going to pick up another bronze bead. This is just even count peyote. I'm going to skip the next bronze bead and go into the bronze bead on the other side of the bead I'm skipping. Pull my thread through. Now I've got a bronze bead and a champagne bead left, so I'm going to pick up a bronze bead because that's the one I'm going to skip. And I'm going to go into the champagne bead on the end there. Pull my thread through. Now I'm going to go back down. So I'm going to skip that I'm going to go into all the sticking out beads this time. And I'm going to skip that first champagne bead. So I'm going to pick up a champagne bead. because the bead I pick up is going to sit next to the bead I skip. So I'm going to pick up a champagne bead and go into that bronze bead. And that sits that champagne bead next to the champagne bead I skipped. Now I'm going to pick up bronze beads and put them between all these bronze beads down through here until I get to the end where the champagne bead is. Because I'm skipping all the beads that are recessed and going into all the beads that are sticking out. And all the beads until I get down to the champagne one are bronze beads. So I'm going to pick up a bronze bead, go into the next bronze bead that's sticking out. Pick up a bronze bead, go into the next bronze bead that's sticking out. Now the last bead in this row, I'm going to skip that last bronze bead and go into the champagne bead. So I'm going to pick up a bronze bead. Go into the champagne bead. Now I'm going to go back up. So I'm going to skip this recessed in champagne bead and go into the sticking out bronze bead. So I'm going to pick up a champagne bead, go into the bronze bead, if I could stop pulling it out of my hand, it would help. Okay, now all the recessed beads all the way up to the champagne bead are bronze. So I'm going to pick up all bronze beads and put them in between all these sticking out bronze beads. Okay, now I'm back up to the top. All I like is that one recessed in bronze bead. And I'm going to be going into the sticking out champagne bead. So I'm going to pick up a bronze bead. Now I'm going to come back down again. So the first bead I'm going to skip is that first champagne bead that's recessed in. And I'm going to go into the sticking out bronze bead. So I'm going to pick up a champagne bead. Go into the sticking out bronze bead. Now I've got bronze beads all the way down through there till I get to my next champagne bead. So I'm going to put bronze beads in between all my sticking out bronze beads. Now I'm down to the last one in this row. I'm skipping that last bronze bead and going into the champagne bead. Now I'm going to go back up. So I'm going to be skipping this first champagne bead. So I'm going to pick up a champagne bead, go into the bronze bead, now all the way up there until I get back to my next champagne bead are bronze beads. So I'm going to pick up bronze beads, put them between all the sticking out bronze beads. Now I'm back up to the top here. I'm going to skip this last bronze bead that's recessed in and go into my champagne bead. So I'm going to pick up a bronze bead. So I'm just going to do that until I have a little bit of my band made, and then I'll start doing the bigger beads. And while I'm off camera, I'm going to sew in this tail to get it out of my way. When I get done and when I zip up the ring, I'll have to sew this thread in too, and it'll be just exactly like the way I'm going to sew in this tail. So you won't be missing anything seeing me sewing this tail. So when I get a little bit more of my band made and my tail sewed in, I'll be back and we'll do the bigger beads. Okay, I've got a little bit of my band done here, and I know I said when I come back I was going to get into the bigger beads, but I forgot I wanted to do a couple of strips of these green delicates that I've got here first. So I'm going to pick up a champagne because I want to keep it down the side. I'm going to go into this bronze bead, and now next to the bronze beads I'm going to put my little green beads in here, my little green delicas. So I'm just going to pick up a green delica and put in all the sticking out, in between all the sticking out bronze beads. Just kind of transition into the green here. Now I'm going to keep the champagne down the side, so I'm going to pick up a champagne bead and go into my green bead. Then pick up green beads and go into all the sticking out green beads. Gotta make sure your little beads pop in there like they're supposed to. Sometimes they want to lay on their side and not pop in there like they're supposed to. You just gotta give them a tug. Okay, I think I'll do one more row of the green, and then I'll start in on the bigger beads. I'm going to do a champagne on the edge and do another line of green beads. Okay, now let me get some of my round beads poured out, and I'll be back. Okay, now I'm going to start putting in my round 11-0 beads, but first I'm going to put another champagne delica right here on this end, so it'll match this end up here. So I'm going to put that delica in there, and now I'm going to put an 11-0 galvanized champagne bead between all my delica beads. Now I'm just going to come back and do that again. I'm going to put 11-0s between all my 11-0s. And when you do this part, because the 11-0s are different shape than the delicas, and it gets confused. It doesn't know why you're putting different shape beads in between different shape beads. You need to hold on to this bead that you're going into right here on the end. It'll try to get loose on you. So just hold on to that and put your bead in there. And then I'm just going to go down putting 11-0s in. Just make sure they pop in there and pull them in tight. Now I'm going to go back up and put in one more row. You can do, you know, whatever you want to do. If you want to do one row of 11 O's or 2 or 3 or 4, just whatever you think looks pretty. I'm going to do 3. This is my 3rd row. I'm going up here. Just make sure it pops in there like it needs to. Okay, now I'm going to start putting in my 8 O's. Okay, now when you start putting in the bigger beads, like I said, you want to hold on to this bead right here on the end that you're first going into. It's going to want to get loose on you. Like that right there. I didn't have a hold of it very good. So hold on to it and put your 8 O in. And we're going to put 8 O's between all the 11 O's. And you want to pull tight and pull towards you and push your piece in, and that'll get that dome happening. I mean, it's going to dome anyway, but this will make it dome even more if you just put your bead in and pull it through. Make sure it pops in there between those beads, and just pull your thread towards you and push your piece, push against your piece there. I'm going to do that all the way down through here. Just pull on your thread and push on your piece. Make sure your piece gets in there real good, because you don't want any gaps in there. So now I'm just going to go back up with my 8 O's. I'm going to do 3 rows of these too, just like I did the others. I'm just going to put them in and make sure they pop in there. Push in on my piece. Pull on my thread. Now I'm going to come back down. I'm going to hold on to this last piece here to make sure it doesn't come loose. Pull toward me and push in on my piece. Okay, now I'm going to make sure everything's in there the way I want it to be. It's starting to dome just a little bit there. Now I'm going to start putting in my rondelles. Okay, now I'm going to start putting in my rondelles. And I'm going to do 3 rows of them just like I did the 8 O's and everything. But you don't have to use rondelles. You can just do the whole top with 8 O's if you want to. But you know me, I've got to have a little bling, so I'm going to use these rondelles. I'm going to hold on to that piece right there, or that end part right there, so it won't come loose, and put in my rondelle. Put rondelles between all my 8 O's. I'm going to keep pushing on this some to get that domed in, but I don't want to pull very hard, especially if you're using these rondelles. You don't want to pull real hard here because the rondelles are sharp and they will cut your thread. So I'm just going to put my rondelles between each of my 8 O's. Make sure they pop in there good and pull a little bit and push a little bit, but don't do it too hard or it'll break your thread. I'm just going to put one between each of my 8-ohs. Now I'm going to go back up. Hold on to that first one that I'm going into so it won't come loose. Just put rondelles between all the rondelles that are already there. Just pull gently and push in, but don't pull too hard. We can start pulling hard again here when we get back into our 11-ohs, but I mean our 8-ohs. Hold on to this one you're going into or it's going to want to get loose. Make sure you get in between all your little rondelles. They want to hide from you there sometimes. You want everything to fit together well, but like I said, be careful and don't break your thread. Okay, now I'm going to start back with my 8-ohs. I'm just going to mirror this side. I'm going to do 3 rows of 8-ohs. I'm just going to put 8-ohs between my rondelles. I'm still not going to pull tight yet because I'm still pulling against those rondelles and I don't want to cut my thread. So I'm just pushing in with my thumb, but I'm not going to pull real tight here. And now I'm going to come back down with another row of 8-ohs. And I can pull a little harder now because I'm pulling against the 8-ohs and not the crystals so much. I'm just going to kind of pull a little bit and push in to get that dome like that. Going from the bigger ones down, back down into the smaller ones is what's really going to get it to dome good. Just keep it pulled good and tight. I'm going to go up with another row of 8-ohs. Just Keep pushing in with your thumb, making sure your 8/0s pop in there like they're supposed to. Okay, there's what we got so far. Now I'm going to start putting in, I'm going to do 3 rows of my 11/0 round beads. Okay, now I'm going to go back down through here with my 11/0 round beads. Hold on to that 8/0 at the end or it'll try to come loose on you. Now we're going to pull and push to get that dome. Now I'm going to go back up with my 11/0s. And this is really going to start drawing it in, and hold on to that first one you're going into. This is really going to start drawing it in and making it dome. Keep pushing in with your thumb. Now I'm going to go back down and do one more row of my 11/0s. Hold on to this one you're going into at the end here. Okay, that's what we've got so far. Now I'm going to go back into my green delicas like I have over here. Okay, now I'm going to do 3 rows of my green delicas like over here. But I want to put a champagne delica on the edge like I did over here so it'll look the same. So I'm going to do 1 champagne delica. Now hold on to this bead you're going into here so it won't come out. And then I'm going to do a green delica between my 11/0s until I get down here to the end. Now I'm going to come back down, so I'm going to pick up a champagne delica to go on the outside. I see I didn't hold to that onto that one there good enough when I was going into it, and it's come loose. I have to take that out and do that over. Okay, I want to hold on to that little green delica I'm going into so it won't come loose. And this is just because we're switching size beads. It won't be like that when you're doing the band because the delicas fit together so well. Okay, now I'm going to put green delicas on down through here until I get to the other side. And I'm still pushing in with my thumb, but I'm not pulling as hard as I was because it's pretty domed now. I'm going to do one more row of the green. I'm going to put a champagne delica on the outside. And then I'm going to do green till I get to the other side. Okay, now I'm going to go back into the band part of my ring. Okay, this is what I've got now. Now I'm just going to do the band like I've been doing over here. This is just my champagne delicas and my bronze ones. I'm going to do a champagne delica on the outside. Do bronze ones on the inside. And I'm going to go back up and I'm going to do a champagne delica on the outside, and then bronze ones on the inside. Now I'm going to go back down, so I'm going to do a champagne on the outside, bronze ones on the inside. Now I'm going to go back up, so I'm going to do a champagne one on the outside, bronze ones on the inside. And now I'm going to go back down, and I'm just going to keep doing that until I get it as bigger, as much around as I want it to be, and then I'll zip it together when I come back. Okay, this is what I've got now, and it's big enough to be a size 8. I've got my ring mandrel here, and it's big enough for a size 8. So I'm just going to zip it up now. And I like to hold it around something like this to zip it up. It just makes it easier. You want to make sure that you end like this side, the little galvanized champagne bead is recessed, and this side it's sticking out, because we're going to zip it up like a zipper. So I'm just going to, coming out the top of this galvanized silver bead, I'm going to go on the top of this one. And then I'm just going to go down each sticking out bead, alternating this side, this side, this side, this side. So I'm going to go down this sticking out bead. And then this one. Just pull it together, and it'll, see if I can turn it around this way, it might be easier. Now I'm going to go up in to this sticking out bead. Over into this sticking out bead. It just pulls it together like a little zipper there. I'm going to go over into this sticking out bead. 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 Over into this champagne bead here. And then back down into this champagne bead. And I'm going to take it off my mandrel. Now I'm just going to sew back up through these beads again a bunch of times to make sure it's sewed together really well. Just sewing on the diagonal. Making sure not to cross over any beads. Get up here to the top, and then I'm going to come back down again. Just go down this. Just go down this champagne bead, and then just go back down through all the beads again, just sewing on the diagonal. Come out the bottom here. And go back up this champagne bead next to the one I'm coming out of. I'm just going to go back up through there again. And that probably will be enough. And then I'm going to tie it off. And it's seamless there. You can't see where I sewed it together because it just zips up like a little zipper. So when I get all this thread sewed in, I'll be back. Okay, so there we go. There's my peyote domed ring using different size beads. It's not hard to do at all. You can make a bunch of these and have one for every finger if you want to. Doesn't take a whole lot of beads. If you have a few stray rondelles, I made 3 rows, so that took 15 of those little rondelles. Of course, like I said, you don't have to use rondelles. You can use all 8 on the top, whatever you want to, whatever you think is pretty. I hope you all enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to my channel and watched my videos and liked and commented on my videos. I have a website where I sell my jewelry. It's Teresa's Handmade Jewelry, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below in case you're interested, along with a link to my Facebook and Instagram and my email. If you haven't, I'd really love it if you'd subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.